Who are you and where are we?
Okay, well, I'm Rod Porter, and we're at Cayuga Sunrise Farm up in Trumansburg. We farm about 700 acres here organically, and we are growing some corn, soybeans, quite a bit of hay, and pumpkins. So we decided to start growing some pumpkins a year ago. So this is our second year, and we've been pretty happy with the response we've gotten. We run a U-pick operation, so and we're only open on weekends because we all have lots of things to do during the week. So this is a little bit of a sideline business of our farm, and we're open weekends, and people come select their pumpkins. We have wagons for them to put the pumpkins in so they can pull them out of the field, take them to their car. Different activities that the kids can do just to have a little bit of fun while they're out here, and it's worked out pretty good so far. Just our second year. So.
All right. Can you talk a little bit about how you've changed things for COVID this year?
Sure. So last year, one of the so in general, we're asking people to wear masks while they're out here. We have hand sanitizer, and we ask them to use that if they would while they're here, especially before or after they're doing any of the activities that we have where they might be touching something. One thing that we had to do different this year, last year we had a sandbox that we filled with soybeans for the kids to play in. So we didn't think that we could do that and have kids right near each other this year. So instead of a big box, we have totes on tables, and individual kids can play in some corn and soybeans. We have both in those totes with some little toys and stuff. So that's one major change. But the sandbox idea with the grain in it really went over good last year. So.
Cool. All right. So can you show us up close and personal what some of your plants look like and some of the pumpkins look like?
Sure. So we'll have to take a walk. You could pan and see some of the pumpkins that we've actually picked and have out for people to just grab if they don't want to walk out in the field. So we did struggle with our crop this year a little bit with the dry weather. We were so dry at planting time, I had trouble getting germination and establishment of the plants, slow start. And then as the season went, just very dry, and the overall yield of the pumpkins is definitely down. We did have irrigation in place. I did not use it nearly as much as I should have, and we found that, like many people would probably be aware, that it's just very difficult to replace the amount of water that rain provides artificially. So we did struggle. To go and look at the pumpkins, we're going to have to take a little bit of walk. So.
All right. So what do you do about weeds out here?
Well, you'll notice that we have some weeds. So actually, I didn't mention earlier that we are an organic farm. So we're not using herbicides, we're not using any other pesticides. So what we do is we actually lay plastic in a raised bed for the actual pumpkin plants. So we're controlling weeds right around the plant itself. And then we are cultivating in between the rows of plastic until the pumpkins start to vine out. And right before they start to vine out, you'll notice a lot of green stuff here. So this is actually a crop for our beef cattle to graze once pumpkin season is over. This is a forage kale and ryegrass underneath it, and a little bit of daikon radish. So we're using this as a cover crop, soil compaction relief, and beef cattle feed all at the same time. It really makes it nice this time of year. Obviously we're not muddy this year, but if it would be damp and muddy, this would make it much nicer to have something to walk on besides mud. It actually helps to keep some of the pumpkins off the dirt. So this has worked really well. When pumpkin season is over, our beef cattle will get this field, and they'll graze off this forage that we have growing, and they'll also eat the leftover pumpkins, so the pumpkins don't go to waste. So this works really good. The cattle also are providing fertility for next year. So works good. You mentioned about weeds. We do have to just tolerate some weeds, but we keep them at bay as long as we can and don't run into too much trouble. You might also wonder about other like insect pests and stuff. We're doing basically nutritionally trying to balance the plant as best we can, so it makes the plants A, more resistant to insect damage, and B, less attractive to the insects actually. So some of the things that we're using, we're actually altering a little bit of the nutrient makeup within the plant that makes it less attractive to the insects, and it's worked pretty well. That and rotating, not planting in the same place, of course, has helped quite a bit. So we're not spraying any insecticide. We do get a little bit of insect damage, but very manageable. So doing the same thing with diseases, we're putting foliar sprays on, nutritional foliar sprays that keep the diseases at bay. So worked pretty well. We've been pretty satisfied with it so far. So,
What do some of those sprays focus on? What kind of nutrients are you getting into the leaves?
So a lot of it's micronutrients, things that a lot of people don't often think of. Copper as a nutrient, not as a contact, fungicide, but copper as a nutrient. Molybdenum actually is a very minor micronutrient, but in small amounts it actually has the ability to alter the nitrate makeup within the plant, and it's nitrates that attract insects. So we use small amounts of molybdenum as a foliar. That seems to work quite a bit, real good. And manganese is the other one that has a strong impact, not only on insect attractiveness, but on fruit set. So manganese really helps with fruit set as well.
I'd like to look at the base of a plant here. Could you show us what it looks like, sort of coming out of the plastic?
Right. So here's one of our vines. So we've had frost here, and of course, the killer of vines naturally is powdery mildew. The vine is pretty well completely dead between the powdery mildew at the end of the season and the frost. But pretty good roots.
All right. And we're probably not going to see squash borers or squash beetles around.
There were a few out here a week or so ago.
This is the problem with trying to find pests in a place where you're trying to
keep them away.
Keep them away.
Yeah. So I mean, this is some insect damage here in the vine, and here on the stem as well, a little bit of insect feeding, but still got a nice green stem. So it's one of the things that I guess people that are a little bit more seasoned in pumpkin production tell me. People like a long stem and they like a green stem. So when you have a lot of disease and insect pressure, then you could have brown stems, not nice solid stems, and of course the pumpkin doesn't last as long. So
all right. And so how do you get the pumpkins out of the field?
Right, so one of the things, we're basically a U-pick, so we let our customers harvest for us. What we do though is we come out here ahead of time and we cut the stem from the vine, so the pumpkins are loose and all they have to do is pick them up. We don't want people out here with sharp objects with potential hurting themselves, so we just go along and we cut all the pumpkins and let the people come harvest them.
Right. And when are you open this year?
Right, so we are open on weekends. We open the last weekend in September and all the way through Halloween. So just on the weekends. Like I say, we're busy with other farming stuff during the week, so it works pretty good that way though.
All right. And do you sell any pumpkins anywhere else, wholesale or other markets?
Right. So this year, because the yield was down a little bit and we felt that we would have pretty good response with our U-pick, we did not sell any off the farm otherwise. The first year we did actually pick some and harvest them and took them to the local produce auction. So it's a good market to move, the product that you produce. The only issue with any auction is you don't know what price you're going to get till the auction happens. So we were satisfied with what we got at the auction last year, but definitely prefer just selling them off the farm here.
Right. Well, this is beautiful.